let's begin the August 17th, 2020 Engineering Committee meeting. And we'll start with the Capital Facility Quarterly Update.
Yeah, and if I may, just before I jump into that, or before I turn it over to James's group, I know Director Elitharp has had some problems with his connection, so it's possible he may go out. If I see he disconnects, I'll just suggest we pause for a second while he rejoins the meeting.
Absolutely not a problem.
Okay. All right, with that, James, I'm going to turn it over to you unless somebody else is going to take the capital facilities update.
I know, I think it's starting with Ryan and Lito, so go ahead, Ryan.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Lito, do you want to go ahead and share your screen? All right. All right. Thanks, Lito. Let me know if anyone has trouble hearing me. Otherwise, thanks for the intro. This is the capital projects update, both the 2019, 2020 fourth quarter update and the 1920 end of year report. If you could go forward, Lito. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick just to show you the navigation online to the quarterly reports. Just bear with me. Okay. Everyone can see the website. So we come to departments, to engineering, and I know you've all seen this before, so this is a bit of a refresher.
They're going to screw us up if you do that?
I don't know. Are you already in the meeting?
Hang on a sec. Your voice is live on there.
Patrick, we could hear you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I just joined the meeting just to see if I could help out.
Okay.
Well, I'll pick up the phone, okay, Glenn?
Patrick, go ahead and mute yourself.
I'm in the meeting. That's fine. Anyways, so Glenn, everybody's in it or not?
Yeah, no, we're in the meeting, Patrick. The meeting's going. That's why I called you to let you know that it's just saying practice mode only. So why don't you
stop the meet? Can I stop the meeting and restart it then?
No, let's just keep going forward. I just didn't know if there's anything you could do behind the scenes.
It looks like you're recording the meeting, so that's good.
Yeah. So, and
Where does it say? I don't see your screen, but where does it say it's in practice mode?
Right at the top of my screen says practice mode only. Attendees cannot join until you broadcast. And when I click broadcast,
it doesn't do anything?
It doesn't change that. We're going to keep going forward, Patrick. So
It just said you're now broadcasting a second ago on top.
Glenn, I don't know why I clicked on it and it went away.
Yeah, for me, it wouldn't do it. Okay.
All right. Have fun.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry for the interruption.
Yeah, no problem. Just to back up, going back to the home page to get the fourth quarter update or any quarter update for that matter on any of the CIP projects at any given time. You come down to departments, engineering, find the capital facilities cog. You click on this cog, active capital improvement projects. This takes you to an interactive map. And these thumbnails each represent one of our projects ongoing at any given time. I'm not going to go into every project in detail since we have the year-end update as well. But if I was to click on any given project, it would come up with a short description and then provide a link to take you to the actual project page that would give you more details on the project, budget, schedule, everything. The fourth quarter project updates are going to be posted to the website in the next day or two. I have them here ready to go. We just fell short of actually getting them up online before this meeting. So if if anyone has any questions about any project, I can pull up the current sheet and we can go through it in more detail. But I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Lito, you can go ahead and pull back up the PowerPoint again. There we go. And for the end of year CIP project update and summary, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Engineer Santos, who is going to give us the full update on fiscal year 1920.
Hi, everyone. Let's see. There we go. So last year was a pretty busy year, the 2019-2020 year. Board awarded $4.1 million in construction, which we managed. Paid to date at the end of the year was $4.08 million.
Lito, go and advance the slide.
Oh, wait. Can you guys, are you good? Do you see the end of the year highlights?
No, we just see the introductory page.
Oh, you're kidding. Oh, that's weird. Resume share. How about now?
Partially. Oh,
There you go. No, you're back. Yeah, you're there now. Go back. There it is.
There.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
All right, sorry. So from the beginning, 2019, 2020 was a very busy year for us in capital. Project summary, board awarded $4.1 million in construction, which we managed and had a paid to date of $4.08 million. Of the 6 projects, we had a total of 49 change orders and that we negotiated. We're a bit higher than usual, our 5% usual average at 6.62%. However, this was due largely because of 2 large change orders that we had. One for the sewer bypass repair. We were upstream on Brighton Glen conducting a repair, a scheduled repair. And then we had heavy rains in February, and we had a secondary break on the sewer bypass so we took advantage of the timing and had the contractor give us a change order for a secondary emergency repair, which we captured in a CIP project. A second change order that we had negotiated was an unforeseen condition on schoolhouse tank. The rafters were just destroyed over time, and it was 20% of the project total cost. Without those 2 district initiated change orders, our percentage would have dropped to 1.75%, which is very low in comparison to our 5% average. Design contracts, we're currently managing $1.3 million at the end of last year for projects we're in design. On the next slide, we have the projected versus actual. This is the yellow line is the scheduled budget that the contractor anticipated. The paid to date was the blue line below. So we were just right on target. The next slide is our change order total versus our industry standard for the last 14 years. With our 6.62% last year, we still maintained our 5% change order average over the course of the 14 years. When compared to our industry average at 15%, we had saved the district over $7.5 million over the course of the 14 years. So it's been a pretty good year. The next slide over is the actual district change order cost based on Ordinance 146. I don't really want to cover too much and bore you guys to death or put anyone to sleep, but these are our 6 projects that we've completed at the top and the total of the rest of the 13 years that we had below. Next, we'll go through our our highlights of this this year. One of our highlights is the Lawrence Welk repair out near the Lawrence Welk Resort on the other side. The original budget was $679,000. We had a budget surplus of $451,000. The cost savings in this project was mainly because we decided as a department to keep it in-house, plan it, design it, create the plans on our own, the specs, take it out to bid, manage it through construction, and do in-house inspection. The next project highlight that we had this year was the 2019 sewer lining rehab. This was a project that was 12,000 feet of lining. We originally had it anticipated as two different projects, one in the Lake San Marcos area and one in various locations throughout the district. It was 59 locations in total, but 39 of which were in the Lake San Marcos area. In doing so and combining these two projects, we had a very attractive price from In Situ Form, and we had a budget surplus of $634,000. Again, staff self-performed planning, design, construction management, and inspection, which had that just nice combination of a budget surplus for us. And then the next project highlight, Mr. Morgan will, the next project is a current active project, is the North Twin Oaks Tank #1 tank refurbishment. It's a total refurbishment. We replaced the rafters, sandblast the interior, and we'll be sandblasting the exterior. Just a couple of pictures for you guys to just see. Then the next project, Mr. Morgan's currently managing.
Yeah. Thanks, Lito. This is the district-wide solar project. This is a recent photo taken in the early morning, just as the sun is rising on the reservoirs here. It's pretty sunset coming up in the background, or sunrise, I should say. You can see the west and east arrays on both reservoir #1 and #2. The project is moving along pretty quickly, actually. This site, most of the hardware, including the arrays, the modules, the inverters, racking, is all installed. There's still some trenching to be done and some underground work, pulling conductors, and also working on the electrical switchgear installation. All that considered, we expect the Twin Oaks site to be completed in October, November, right around the same time where Lift Station 1 will get going. And Lift Station 1 will probably be completed in January or February of 21. And with that update, district-wide solar will be in full production once Lift Station 1 is done next year. And if anyone has any questions, I'll be able to take those now.
All right.
Moving on.
So James, that's it for item 1 then?
That's it for item 1. Yes, that's the update, and it's per our ordinance 146. Similar update will be going to the next board meeting, or the one after in September.
Okay, so the next item is the development services update, and I think Rob will be taking that item.
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Prum. Good afternoon, Directors Hernandez and Elithar. So this is a bit tricky because typically I have some paper maps and some tables and charts I can put in front of you, but this one's going to be just a little bit different here, going virtual. Can everyone see the map?
Yes.
Okay. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to zoom in on different areas to try to illustrate the projects that we currently have in construction, which are the green projects, and then the plan check projects, which are going to be the, let's call it the salmon colored sites. And then I can talk a little bit about the planning. At the director's privilege here, we can get into more detail on that or not, depending on time and patience. So let me try zooming in here. Okay, is everyone seeing the Zoom map just fine so far?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Then I'm going to start with the projects that we currently have in construction. These projects have gone through the district plan check process. Ground is broken on them, and they're in various stages here of completion. So we'll start with project number 1, which is the Discovery Village South project. This project has just gotten off the ground. This is just off of Craven Road here, just to the west of Twin Oaks Valley Road. It's a 220 lot single family subdivision. Let me go to item 2 here, El Dorado, project 2. This is part of the Richmar area. You can see on both sides of it, we have various projects that are currently in the planning phase. El Dorado is actually the one that's in the lead. They've actually broken ground, especially on the sewer portion with the Pico Avenue sewer, which is a requirement. They needed to upsize the sewer in order to serve this development. El Dorado is a redevelopment. They're actually just going to add a couple single family units at the end of the day here on this project, because what they're doing is tearing down old units and then replacing them with new units. Very similar to what happened just across Mission Avenue, if you remember, on Autumn Drive several years back. Okay, I'll go to project 3, which is the Orchard Hills subdivision. Yeah, that's all the way up here on Front Street. Orchard Hills is a 20 lot single family subdivision that's currently well within construction now. Project 4 is the Mission 24 project, which is a 32 lot, 32 unit multifamily subdivision just off Mission Road before Mission crosses the freeway. Project 5, St. Paul Drive, is a small 4 lot subdivision. This is in the Montiel area. 4 lots there. They're just getting started. We're still negotiating some drainage improvements within a district easement that they're trying to do. And then they plan on breaking ground really soon. Project 6 is a Ray Court subdivision. That's just north of Rock Springs. And Ray Court is a 14 lot single family subdivision. And then I'm going to go all the way to the far end of the map here. If everyone can see this area, this is the green storage. This is actually a storage facility being proposed just off the eastern end of the Interstate 15. This has been in the works here for several years now. Looks like they've got a plan together. We signed off on it just recently, and we hope that they're going to be breaking ground on this really soon. And then the last of projects in construction, I'm going to pull this all the way down to Santa Leo Hills. This is a Santa Leo Town Center, the phase 2, which is the northeastmost portion of the downtown area in Santa Leo. And this is a 12 unit multifamily and commercial mixed use development. So all of these construction projects together, they encompass approximately 179 water EDUs worth about $1.4 million and about 288 sewer EDUs worth about $3.7 million. And that's the projects that we currently have in construction. So now I'm going to move to our salmon colored projects, which are the projects that are currently in the planning stage. So we have a good sense that a lot of these projects, the vast majority of them, should move forward. They're in our plan check process at the moment, which means that they're going through permitting. They're more serious. They're not planning. They've gone through the planning stages here. They've gone their concept. So these are kind of more sure. than what a planning project would be. Palisades Estates is this very large piece of property that is proposing 19 single-family estate lots up in the northwestern part of our district. And then I'm going to come to the south here, where we have San Marcos Highlands, which I believe you're all very familiar with. 189 single-family lots in the Highlands development. And then its little brother, which is the Marai development, right next to it. This is approximately 89 single-family units. San Marcos Highlands is completing their annexation process and probably will be breaking ground before the end of the year. Marai development there is about midway through plan check. And then now I'm going to come to my favorite project, which is the Carl Strauss Brewery. That's just off Las Posas here, very close to the office, actually, probably within walking distance. Obviously, Carl Strauss is a commercial brewery being proposed. Going to item 13 here, which is the Kaiser Hospital.
Rob, before you go on,
Yes, sir.
the Strauss Brewery, we keep seeing that and hearing about are they ever going to start? What's going on there?
I know they're taking their sweet time on this here, but we have heard from them recently, and they have gone through a couple rounds of plan check. So we're crossing our fingers that they're going to be in soon.
Okay.
Item 13 is the Kaiser Hospital. This is not an expansion. This is a brand new hospital going in just north of their existing care center, which is going to be just to the south of it. Kaiser is proposing a 206-bed hospital here. They're currently wrapping up a lot of the plan check processes. This hospital has been actually moving pretty quickly through our process, and there's a chance here that they could get started with construction within the next few months. Project 14 is the Sunrise Oryx development. This one is just on the skirts of our district. Actually, part of it is outside of our district. This is the 192 multi-family unit proposed subdivision. We would only serve sewer to this one. Rincon Water would likely take the water if this one does indeed develop. Item 15 here is a Nordal 15 lot subdivision that kind of speaks for itself. It's a 15 unit single family project just to the west side of Nordal Road. And then of course, there's kind of our exception here about projects that are in plan check moving forward there. High Point's been on the docket for quite a while. They're currently working with us here on resurrecting this project. And as James mentioned here, before the meeting got started, we're likely to have them on our September 2nd docket. Susan Bowman's going to make a presentation basically on the condition of the infrastructure out there.
Rob, a question on that. Does the district have an estimate of what that requirement is going to cost in total?
We're likely going to have a recommendation here. As far as the actual cost for it, no, we have not put the cost together to my knowledge.
Okay, and then two more questions. With regard to the pump station, is that a replacement or could it be a rebuild, or is it just so bad that we just want it replaced?
Well, I can tell you that the building is good.
Okay.
Yeah, we're comfortable with the building. The pumps themselves have not been operated in what's probably got to be a couple years now. We're highly under the assumption those are shots. The developer has contracted with Dexter Wilson Engineering to do an analysis on the pumps, what it would take to revamp that, as well as a hydropneumatic tank.
Oh, good.
So we're expecting a cost and a scope based on that study from Dexter Wilson, from the developer on that.
And lastly, has the developer talked about lining the pipe as opposed to taking it all up and repairing it? Or is that option not on the table?
They haven't broached that with us yet, but that's an interesting concept.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the only questions I had there. It's not in my district, but I know the developer, and he's actually the one that is doing the project that did the parking lot for South Lake. And so the parking lot is done. The last time I was out there, they had some markings on there as though it was a plan check and they needed some more handicap accessibility or something. But I believe that I'm going to find out here when they're planning to open the lake, because of course that's been on my mind for years. So, all right. Well, thank you very much, Rob. That was an excellent report.
Yeah, and just to wrap up on the plan check stuff, we're probably talking in the vicinity of about 500 water EDUs and about more than 650 sewer EDUs. That would be about $4.1 million for water and about, let's call it $8.7 million for wastewater. And in addition here on the map, I wasn't going to go through these here, but we do have about 24 different projects still in the, let's call it not in the queue, but just kind of on the radar here that are in the planning stages to various degree. We expect some of these projects would move forward. Some of these projects might not make it here. One of the most high profile projects is the 2,000 acre Newland Sierra development. They have been making some noise on this recently. I would not be surprised at all if this comes back reincarnated a little bit there. They'll probably end up tweaking their single family and multifamily numbers on this and present something new to the county. I don't have a timeline on it. I've just heard that they are doing that.
Hey, Rob, I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
Back at the near the Kaiser Hospital project, I see some grading going on out there. What project is that?
That is probably the
Looks like
Discovery
it's pretty
Village.
close to the Kaiser's.
Right. That's probably the Discovery
Mhm.
Village. They've broken ground and they've commenced clearing and grading operations out there. So this is the 220 single family lot subdivision that's currently in construction out here.
Okay, thanks.
Rob, also, just today I was driving down 78 and I see right, where the heck is it? Just beyond the intersection of San Marcos Boulevard going east, they're out staking something and grading something. I don't see anything on your map that indicates what's
Yeah, it's
going
this-
on there. Do you know what's going on?
Just east of Interstate 78 and just above San Marcos
A little bit further to the east and on the other side of it, right in that zone there.
On
Yeah.
the south end, is it part of University Villages?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's probably University District Block F.
No, but on the other side of Twin Oaks, they have some
Side of
stuff
Twin
going on.
Oaks.
Oh, other side of Twin Oaks, like in
Yeah.
that area.
Right, where is that? I can't read that road. Pacific, does that say Pacific Lane or somebody lane?
Well, this is Twin Oaks here.
Right,
South of the 78.
This is the boulevard, and this is 78. So this is
Right.
that triangle. Is it in that triangle?
no, back underneath to the south of,
South of 78.
right, a little bit left, right in that zone, a little bit further left, but right about there.
Got it. So this might be part of what Director Elitharp just mentioned here, the Discovery Village. There's also a companion project to that there that's being performed here, and that's part of North City West. So they might have started some clearing activities out here.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think they have.
All right, that's where it's at.
Yeah, so that's something here that Almost could be considered a planning project at this point there because we are aware of it. But yeah, they are going to come in, and I believe this is going to be a single and multifamily subdivision.
Yeah, so that's unique because they'll be in planning, but then they'll be going rapidly through planning right into plan check if they move as fast as they want to. But technically, they're not in planning with us yet.
Okay. All right.
Hey, Rob, can you explain the major roadway improvements that are being built in conjunction with the Discovery Village South?
Yeah, so what is happening here is I'm going to start at the intersection of Bent and Discovery and Craven right here. So this entire intersection is being realigned, and the timing on this is going to coincide more or less with the bridges project that the city of San Marcos is doing, where they're extending the bridges on both Bent and Via Veracruz. But they're going to take this intersection, redo it, and Discovery Street is going to be realigned where it's going to go through the development. And I believe it's eventually going to end up here on the extension of Barham. So it's going to kind of go through kind of on this northern boundary of Discovery Village.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna connect those two. And then you'll actually have a different type of intersection here that'll match into Craven, and a part of Craven will eventually get abandoned, kind of where my cursor's at.
Well, how do those people get in this zone?
There's going to be, Discovery is still going to have this side street that comes out to Craven. So it's going to create kind of a triangle here. So they'll still access Craven going this way.
Oh,
There's just going to be a little part of it that's going to get abandoned. And I think it's going to turn into a park.
okay.
All right, Rob, any more development related?
No, I just, unless you wanted to go through a lot of the boring details on the planning side, that's all I had here.
Well, I guess I'll leave it to the committee members. Is there any more detail you want, or was that a sufficient overview?
No, I'm good.
Okay, good.
All right. Moving on to item number 3, septic hauling.
All right, is that you as well, Rob?
Yes, sir. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. Okay, so I just wanted to give the committee a quick update here. We talked about this in the last committee meeting. So since then, the septic hauler disposal siting study has actually been finalized by Woodard and Curran. That happened just last Friday. So that's a final document now. The document itself calculates a break-even tipping fee of about 17.9 cents per gallon, or just about 18 cents per gallon. And that's based on what it would cost to recoup for capital costs and operation and maintenance estimates. The study came to the conclusion that a market bearing rate for North County would be about 13 cents a gallon. So in conclusion, it does not look like the tipping fee that would be required here would be competitive with the existing regional options here, specifically taking the septic all the way to San Diego. Since that report, we've had some discussions here, additional discussions with Cedron Technologies, which I kind of touched on last meeting as well. So Cedron, what they'd like to do, and based on our discussions, I think we have at least a concept in mind here. They like to site a solids handling system at our Mar Reservoir, which is our large 54 million gallon recycled water storage facility off Rancho Santa Fe Road. It's got some area where they could set this potentially. We've been discussing with Cedron about a process that might not require a discharge to our sewer system. What it would do is it would produce recycled water, which we would need to talk to the permitting agencies if we could put that directly into MAR, which would save on a ton of piping, obviously, and basically give the recycled water a home. And then basically the rest of the waste there could either be used for a fertilizer or it could be landfilled like a solid waste. So we have a virtual meeting set up with the Regional Water Quality Control Board to start discussions, basically introduce our concept because it's a bit unique, and to discuss if something like this is possible and what some preliminary permitting would look like, some considerations for that. So again, we're going to meet probably next week here on the 25th with the regional board on that.
And really quick, just to add to what Rob was talking about, the big thing is if we don't discharge anything into the sewer, then we're not bound by having to stay within the Encina service area, which opens up the amount of septic hauling that you could receive. But the big thing is, will it be acceptable? Will the process be acceptable to be converted into recycled water and put directly into Mar Reservoir? And that, according to the manufacturer, they're like, absolutely, yes, we're doing something similar up in Washington. But, that's Washington State. This is California. It may or may not be. So there's still, before people get excited about this, there's still a big hurdle to get over. And then when you site up facilities like this, you might get challenges from the local community and from the city because it's in the city of Carlsbad. So there's that issue too. But however, if one of the big things that really drove up the cost and made it not feasible for us to do a septic receiving area is the restrictions of staying within the Encina service area. It was just one of, there's several, but that was one of the hurdles. So this, in theory, could eliminate a major hurdle where Encina is no longer part of that process. And if everything were to work out, the district could basically provide a facility and they would handle the solids portion. We would take the recycled water portion, which would be a benefit to us. And the district could have, collect a tipping fee and make a little bit of money on it. And, that's all if everything lines up. So there's a lot of questions that we still have that regulators and other people have to answer. But, it looks positive at first blush.
James, Rob, interestingly enough, I did talk to Eric DeYoung when last we met. I thought we were talking in the 15-cent range per gallon. And although he had a little bit of a breathtaking, if based on the facility, the piece of equipment I looked at, it was by the gallon charge. Mm-hmm. San Diego apparently is by the dump. And if you have a short dump, you still pay the full amount. So he said, that might work. So I guess alternatively, while you're talking about this other facility, how big of an area expanse do we need to be looking at to site it at San Marcos? Do we know?
And Mar, we don't have enough room for their equipment. They need a fairly large. So what they do is they get away from having the load issue, and they run their equipment constantly. So they have a large tank, and everything loads into that tank, and then they run their processor just constantly, which is ideal. Yeah. So they're gonna put what was it, like 120, 150,000 gallon tank somewhere. Oh. And then they have it's internal, but it's a big warehouse building. It looks like a big, rectangular building. It's maybe, it's hard to tell from the pictures they showed us, but it looked to me from a scale of, 150 to 200 feet long, and of course proportional. And most of their sites are in the, 1 point something, 2 point something acres. So, right now it's too soon. They're looking at a 70 to 100,000 gallon. The problem is, in the Encina service area, and Rob, help me out here because the numbers. It's closer to 40,000 gallons in the Encina service area, and I think the number is like 70 in the regionally.
Yeah. So if we're confined by the Encina jurisdiction, Woodard and Curran came up with a figure, and this is the same one they use for Encina, of about 30,000 gallons per day of septic flow would be available. If we can get outside of those boundaries, which kind of means getting away from Encina and putting waste in Encina, there is definitely the possibility to increase that number to what James is saying, more in like the 50 to 70,000 gallon per day range.
And it all becomes a numbers game. So the more volume you could get, it drives that price down significantly, because the capital cost of them putting the facility in, obviously it's more expensive for a larger facility, but it's only incremental.
Well, I still, at our last meeting, I was looking to see if I could get a cost breakdown for how the dollar amounts for the various items were. So if you could get that to me still, so I can look at it and choke to death.
Yeah, we have the draft study now. I think I just if I haven't, I'll email it to General Manager Pro.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Any further questions on septage hauling?
Yeah, I've got a question on this process this company's talking about. I don't understand it. They're going to take raw sewage?
Yeah,
And-
so they have a process that it basically strips the water out of the sewage, scalps it. They can do nutrient recovery through it. They've talked about nitrogen, phosphorus to make fertilizer.
And ammonia.
Correct, and ammonia as well.
Well, I don't know how you can do that without running it through a wastewater treatment plant. Why do we need a plant if they can do that?
I think that's essentially what their processor is there. It's a high intensity scalper that now, provided they can do this without coming into our sewer system. If they can't, then it's kind of a different story. But if they can do it without producing a liquid waste, if they can do it by only doing a solid waste, then we can basically take the recycled water on site. They can dispose of the solid waste there at the landfill, and then nutrient recovery. I guess they have a market for that, or an assumed market for that.
Yeah,
Well-
they want to capture the ammonia and either the nitrates or nitrogen,
Nitrogen, phosphorus.
and they have a market for that, and everything else gets wasted out. I looked at their presentation. It's some of it's new technology, some of it's old technology, some of it's filter press type stuff. But I don't really. I'd be lying if I said I really understood it.
Well, it's interesting
Yeah,
because
it sounds too good to be true.
Mm-hmm.
also, I mean, that's in Encina, they have their Class B solid. They can't put it anywhere except Yuma. They got to truck it to Yuma. So this putting it on landfill, I would double check that for sure.
Yeah, and they're saying they can make a Class A and Class B, and they basically say they have a market for it. But again, their experience is in Washington State, so
Right.
that's why we have a Zoom meeting with the regional board. Because I first thing I asked them, or Rob and I asked them, was, have you guys gone through what the regulatory requirements here in California look like? And I don't think they have. So
No.
again, it's optimistic, but Rob and I are both of the opinion of, if this thing may pilot, it may die at the pilot, but if they're willing to, try it, and, and it sounds something that the board's willing to try, that, and it doesn't cost the district any money, then it may be something for consideration.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. Any other questions? All right. Moving on to item number 4, Tesla battery update.
Yes,
James, is that you?
that's me. So I'll share my screen. Okay, everybody can see the kind of the map that I have up there.
Yeah.
All right. So basically, working with our public information group, and basically we're looking at different programs. So one of the programs that either we stumbled upon, or actually maybe Chris's group actually found, I'm not too sure about that, is this Tesla battery pack, or which they give you commercial battery packs for free, essentially. So what it is it's a program that is put on through the state of California that allows basically Tesla to design all the hardware, provide the battery packs, all the switch gearing, do all the work if you qualify. And then you get the battery pack for free. And the battery packs are used to run your system during peak hours. So it'll charge in the middle of the night when energy's cheap, after midnight. And for us, it's 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. is peak. So between 4 p.m. and 9 p.m. it discharges. In theory, with all the charges, it could save you anywhere from, depending on the station, depending on the facility, in the peak summertime, it could save up to 30% of your energy costs. Year long, it wouldn't. It'd be, and we haven't run those numbers yet. So I know you see a bunch of stuff with red lines. So if you see my hand, the 7 to 8 corridors right here, okay? And to qualify, you have to be in what they call a high fire with a weak electrical connection zone. So everything south of this red line, everything north of this red line, the SCG&E, the way their system's laid out, is more susceptible to be cut off from power during a fire. And it's also in an area where there's enough fuel that it's considered a zone, something, I forgot what they use, this different term, but it's a higher zone fire than down the main urbanized corridor here. And it's also on a low circuit, because for example, if I pan up the map here, Twin Oaks is out of there. It's not, this is a reservoir site, it's not in that zone. It's still a high fire zone, but there apparently is a secondary circuit that feeds that area. And that circuit was put in when the new treatment plant was put in up here for CWA. So that's why it's not in that zone. So even during a fire, and one of the way SCG&E's infrastructure is set up, this has basically more robustness. That's the way they explained it to me. So I just wanted to explain that to you, because I'm sure you could look at this map and you could say, this is a high fire area. Why is it out? That's the first question I asked. That's the way they explained it to me. So the rule is you have to be in this red zone. If you're not in this red zone, you have to experience an average of 2 outages a year, and has to be in a kind of a, underprivileged area also. So for us, we have pretty good systems. Our SCG&E through the urbanized zones have pretty good backups. We don't see a SCG&E outage of more than 2 a year, or even 2 a year on average. So most of our system along the urbanized corridor, which is 78, don't qualify. However, we do have a lot of systems in the north, and we do have all the systems down here in San Leo in the south that do qualify. So they don't qualify because they've experienced outages. They qualify for the previous region being the higher fire with I guess, a weaker SCG&E infrastructure. So that being said, these items qualify. So what we've done is we've allowed the Tesla commercial battery rep this map essentially that shows them the facilities and the addresses to the facilities to look up the power records for that facilities, because it has to have a certain power draw of 58 kilowatts max, or 58 kVA maximum inrush current to qualify. If it does qualify, they basically do an analysis, and if the analysis is done and it's favorable, they will supply. It's not the power wall. It's called the power pack, which is a commercial power pack. Now that includes working with our existing backup system. So what that means is power goes out, the battery comes on first. So power goes out, the battery comes on first. If the battery runs out, then our generators come on. So they'll put the switchgear, the automatic switchgear in there to ensure that happens. Sounds great. Sounds good to be true. Most of our facilities up in this area will not qualify. I already know that because they're too small. Coogan Pump Station may. That's one of our largest pump stations. Our facilities down south, most of them will not qualify. San Alejo Pump Station and maybe a couple of the pump stations may and may not. But Meadowlark definitely will. The Meadowlark's our biggest power user in the district as a single source. So it definitely will. So at the end of the day, I'm hoping that they come back with Coogan Pump Station and Meadowlark as a minimum, and then we can see the analysis. Obviously, as we get further along, start seeing what's on paper to see if it's too good to be true or what the program really entails. We'll come back both to committee and obviously to the board for some type of authorization before moving forward. But it sounds exciting. It sounds like there's a potential that we could get free Tesla batteries through this program that would basically, sorry, lights came off, basically allow us to peak shave during those peak 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. hours, which would save, especially at a place like Meadowlark, that would save a significant amount. Some of our pump stations, that savings would be more seasonal. But if it doesn't cost the district any money, then it'd still be a savings. And this would basically, obviously, we have pump zone rate charges that would get reduced. And we have also general operating expenses at all of our facilities that get reduced. And Meadowlark, obviously, being a huge one with the electricity draw there, would reduce our sewer. It could put at least positive pressure on our sewer rates instead of negative. So with that, that's really just a base update that we have. We're fresh. We just sent the representative this map basically at the end of last week. So unless you have any questions, oops, it's a little too small for you guys. Unless you have any questions, that's the end of my update on this.
Yeah, I've got a question, James, I guess for James. What is the emergency generators? Do they have a 200-hour annual operating limit?
Yeah, so, they actually have, it used to be 52 hours. Now it's 26 hours that you use for testing. And then there's and I got, Ed knows this better. It's because it depends on the class. And Director Elthar, you may actually know this better than I do from your experience too. I know it used to be 200, but I thought they changed it based on the type of generators you have. So that's what I'm not too sure of. But it used to be 200 for operating during emergency and 26 for testing.
Okay, thanks.
Relative to batteries, have we heard anything again from the company that was going to put batteries on lift station 1?
Nope.
Okay.
They've gone radio silent.
All right. All right. That was number 4. And other business, I have one additional items I wanted to ask about, but anybody else got anything for other business?
Not I.
Another one of the constituents from the district asked me about when we did our solar study, what was the outcome of putting solar up on Coronado Hills and helping with the electric cost in that area? I don't recall.
Glenn, would you like me to take that?
Oh, yeah, go ahead, James.
Sure. So we looked at that Coronado Hills site, and you have to remember, essentially putting solar at Twin Oaks is helping our electricity costs because it's the RES BCT, the RESBIT project. So Coronado Hills is part of that, 50 meters that we can do. The Coronado Hills site itself doesn't have any electricity draw per se. The Coronado Hills pump station, which is down in Rancho Tesoro in that little valley, does if you wanted to do a NEM project, and there's just not enough surface area. Plus, it's in a shaded valley. And that big 46 acres in Coronado Hills that we do own, some of it is south facing, but a lot of it faces kind of east, I believe. So it's not ideal, and it's pretty rugged. But the Twin Oaks site became the obvious. So the Twin Oaks site itself will provide energy saving for our pumping rates for all of our pumping customers for the most part, which it does include the Coronado Hills pump station, which, and the tank itself, just to there's really no electricity up there being used, or very little.
Okay, well, that answers that question. All right, any other business?
Not from our end.
Okay, well then I think we've covered it all, so we'll adjourn the engineering committee.
All right, thank you
Very much.
Yep.
Thanks, everybody.
Good job, guys.